Earning income, money coming in while we snooze at night, while we're dreaming of things that may not be based on reality. What if a needed bringing a reality that brings security, brings more freedom, brings more flexibility into our household is occurring? And that being the reality of having a reliable and keyword stable and growing income stream. One term for that stream is residual. It's also called beach money income. It's also earn income while you sleep. So I want to welcome everybody. We're going to have fun today. If you're Whether you're curious, whether you're intrigued, whether you've earned income while you sleep or not over the years, or something you maybe even dream, speaking of dreaming, that you've dreamed about, then you're in the right place. I grabbed a couple of my dear friends who I've known for a combination of about 35 plus years. And one of them hadn't maybe been around that long, but he's
Close.
I've known him at least 15 years, though he is an animal. And I say animal in a good sense of the word, meaning passionate. And he just gets things done. He's a leader. He's earned multiple seven figures, and in a way, and that multiple seven figures came in income while he was asleep, while he was in Mexico, while he was vacationing, while he was doing his next adventure, whatever he was doing, it was coming in. That's what we're going to talk about today. And the other friend here, who's a spiritual business mentor as well, we've known each other for over 24 odd years plus. I've been in his house, he's been in mine. We've traveled around the planet together, and he has been in holistic wellness. And crazy enough, alongside of his wellness holistic journey, he spoke at Harvard, for goodness sake, a few years back. He has earned multiple seven figures as well. And the cool thing about my dear friend, well, that was Hayden Bobber you heard earlier, and then my dear friend Jim Rhodes. He alongside of his wellness journey, the whole time there was always earning income while he slept occurring at the same time, which Jim sometimes doesn't talk about that, but he's definitely talking about it today. So, and again, it's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Robert. My honeybee is Joy. We've been enjoying earning income while we sleep and while we go on global adventures for over 30 years now as well. So it's an honor. So Hayden and Jim, who is the VIP on this line today?
Everyone on the other side of the camera.
That's
Those
right.
who have joined us today, who are adventurous enough to want to know, if they haven't experienced, what residual or ongoing income from the first sale you ever make to continuing to get paid for that first sale, because the product is used over and over. Each time someone purchases it, you get paid for introducing them to it.
Well, and that was my first question. You just answered it. What does residual or earning income while we sleep mean to each of us here? So, Jim, anything you want to else add to that, knowing the question?
Yes, actually, residual income helps us reach our dreams because it can continue to grow for the people you introduce, whatever the product was that they were excited about. If it's one of a kind like what we've got right now, and taken the world by storm because it works, and 95% of the time they want more product each month, and it's based on the fact that they buy it in increments of 1 month at a time, and each of those purchases ends up making a commission for the person who introduced it to them. Then you add one more element to that, and that is leverage, because now that they are really excited about the product, they may share it with someone else also. And if they do, you start making a commission on their sales as well. And it can go quite deep, grow quite big, and make good income for you while you sleep, while you surf, while whatever you do that you enjoy.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering that. So, Hayden?
I love that. I just love I love the word leverage. And Jim, like you were saying, when you have something that's one of one and that works, it allows you to create a lot of leverage. So whether it's, something that is being shared once in a while, it's being shared all the time, it's being shared when you have the time. It's something that has a compounding effect that can continue to grow and grow and grow. And what I've realized over the last 38 years while I've been on this planet is that I continue to meet new people, and new people know people, and everybody is always meeting new people. And when we have something of value to offer, it creates a win-win. And for the majority, most people love to just use the product, and that's great. That's what we want. We want raving product fans because we know we have something that is absolutely changing people's lives, whether they are sharing it or not. But we also know that there is a need for extra income. And when you're talking about building a residual income and leveraging that, it's in looking at growing a residual income, you get to leverage other people's time, whether it's an hour a week or 5 hours a week. That creates a multiplier effect with what is possible here, and it continues to grow and grow and grow. And we've been able to see that over the last year or so. What's really truly been possible and being able to expand, one of the beautiful things about, getting online here is we have the ability to connect with more and more people, unlike any other time in the history of our existence. And that's something that's really fun when you have the ability to expand over into 100 different countries. And then that's when you talk about earning money while you're sleeping. All of a sudden in your sleep, the other side of the world is awake, and then you wake up and you realize, holy smokes, my team and my community has also been sharing, and I just watched my income grow overnight while I was dreaming, building my dreams.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, so many aspects of what you just said. Hopefully that people can relate to when they're hearing these definitions. I think my biggest thing that I think about when I hear the word residual or money while I sleep is, to me, residual income has always had an effect of impact. And I know a big part of my brand is, all of our brands that we show up here online, is to help people step into their greatness, their light, their power, who they were created to be. And one aspect of creating this type of recurring income stream that we all talk about, that I love dearly, is it also gives us the resources to work on ourselves, to develop ourselves as a human being, as a spouse, as a partner, as whatever it is, and it enables us to create more impact. If that's one of your drivers, it may not be one of your main drivers, and that's okay. Maybe your main driver is to just get out of debt, and that's okay too. So whatever that looks like, then yeah, hopefully we're giving you different perspectives and insights on this. And that being said, a lot of people have issues around money that we cannot, like some of the old myths that we know, some of us have grown up with, people that have wealth, or they have, higher income streams, they're greedy, or they're not good people. Money doesn't grow on trees, for goodness sake. And, be real about your money. You can't be spiritual and be abundant and wealthy. So I would like to ask each of you as well, guys, when it comes to maybe somebody watching this has some of that, still that money, it's called the money blueprint, or baggage around wealth or abundance. What would you speak into them if that was something they were dealing with? And have you yourself dealt with? I know I have. It took some major growth for me to go from money monk and some of the workshops I put it over here, to growing into the fact that I could be a good steward. So let's flip it. Start with Hayden this time. So what would you pour into those, and have you dealt with that yourself?
Yes, I have dealt with that myself quite a bit. But I will say I was very blessed to grow up in a family where personal development and, creating an income was talked about, and really beginning to understand, like, money is a magnifier of really who you are. And if we're being called here to bring, heaven on earth, so to speak, we need really good people making really good money. Because you can do more with that. You can impact more people. You're able to spread that out. You're able to give more. You're able to do all of those things. I don't think we are, created here to just survive. I think we are created here to be able to thrive. And this is one of the vehicles to be able to do that. And it took reading. I remember in my early 20s, I read Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, and that really started to change the game for me. Also, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. If you're, really starting to, figure this out or break some bad habits, or really start to understand the way that money flows and how it can flow to you, I encourage you read those 2 books and dive in and really see what the truth is for you. Because most of the time when we have this preconceived notion that money is bad or wealth is bad, it's because of what somebody else told us. It's not the facts. It's not the truth. And so that's what I would really encourage everybody to do, and just sharing a little bit about my journey with that, because I know that I've been able to make bigger impacts when there's more income coming in. And again, it's just a magnifier of who you are at the core and who you are at the heart.
Wow. Very, very, very true. It
So,
magnifies who you already are. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, this is one I wrestled with a lot, because I had not been paid overly and overly again for doing whatever I did. Even when I got into sales, it was direct sales where you sold a product and you got paid whatever the commission was, and that was a one-time thing. But I'd also been raised in a family where a very famous scripture is quoted: money is the root of all evil. And that was misquoted to me from the time I was young to older. It's the love of money that has the problem. If your driving force is that you just want more money, and it's not that you're going to do good with what you're blessed with, then I can see why that's a truth. But I had a real interesting experience myself until I realized, and it was someone else in our organization who just quoted it correctly. It's the love of money. Number one, that was a revelation to my brain. But number two, every time someone purchased a product that blessed them, that they really benefited from, and I got paid, that dollar that I got paid, or however much, represented some good that I had done. And when I made that mind changing thought pattern change, every dollar represents another person that I blessed, it made a big difference in how I accepted that and how I knew, exactly as you just said, Hayden, the amount of good I could do, whether it was being out of debt, which is a goal that many people have, and lifting that load off of your, be able to scream, I'm debt free, as we know we've been taught. The thing that, that just resonated with me, and I am hoping to be able to do that for a lot of other people. In fact, I get more excited for people in my organization who start making as much or more than me than I do for myself, because I was kind of instrumental to lead him into this kind of an income. But there are so many advantages. I recall just in the selling field, when you're in the selling field, your tax different because you own what you're doing, and so you can take some tax advantages. Here, my father had worked in the school district for years, and he was paying like 40% of his full income after all those years in tax, and I was paying 15 or 20 max because of all the great tax benefits you get for owning your own company and the write-offs, all of those things. And then one last thing, personal development was huge for me. When I attended my first Zig Ziglar event, and this is dating me, or Jim Rohn, even bigger event, I went, that guy has impact. That guy is affecting this entire auditorium with the words he's sharing. When I found out that personal development had a compensation plan tied to it, which is exactly what this company has done, or
Yeah.
which many of the companies out there, it's what personal growth I can make at the same time while my income goes up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well said, Jim. Yeah. Hayden and I were like, personal growth, yes. And, all that. And there's so many implications of that because of the legacy impact, because of how it affects your relationships. It affects everything. Um, it's all kind of interconnected, isn't it, guys? So I have two next questions. I'm going to say what the follow up question is, but then ask the initial question. The follow up question is, I want you both to be thinking about this. And for those watching this, true earning money while we sleep, recurring residual income can address some real raw life moments. And I want Jim and Hayden be thinking about this. We've been wonderfully, we're all very grateful because we have experienced this residual income coming in for actually Hayden a number of years now, 15 plus years, Jim and myself several decades. And I want you to be thinking about maybe one example, a real life example, because you had a recurring earning income while you sleep income, you were able to be there. You were able to do something. You were able to show up for a loved one in your life when we're without that residual aspect, that simply would not have been possible. I want you to be thinking about that. When I have a very incredibly emotional, heartfelt story around that tied to my grandkids and their grandmother who was facing actually a near fatal incident. So before I go there, though, before we answer that question, just a real quick answer I'm looking for. Off the cuff, what do you think stops most people? Like, what do you think is one of the biggest fears that halts people in their track when they even think about building a earning money while they sleep income? What does that look like? What have you found to be the case? What's one or two main points? Looking for a brief answer from, let's start with Hayden.
Yeah, I would say the fear of the unknown. It's not something we grew up learning. It's not something that was taught in school. It's totally different from doing a 9 to 5, getting a salary, all of those things. So it creates this fear because it's different. But the truth is we have choices and we get to choose how we want our legacy to be built, how we want to create, whether it's, income on the side or create a full-time residual income. We have the option to choose into that. And I think what holds most people back is the fear of the unknown and not completely understanding it, but getting to a place of trusting the process and learning from people like us who have been there, done it, and are doing it right now.
Okay, fear of the unknown and allowing that. Most of us heard the imposter, listening to our imposter, which is the deceiver versus mine's Michael. Bert is my imposter. Michael is over here empowering me. But if I listen to Bert too much, I'm going to never step into that legacy and that deeper impact. So Hayden, thank you, sir. So Jim, how would you answer that?
I love Hayden's answer. It would be, can I do this? And fear of rejection and being looked at as a used car salesman, desperate to make money on those people you know and love, and being perceived as that. It couldn't be more opposite. When you can bless somebody because you have something that if they simply utilize it, improves their life, improves the potential of income, which so many people are needing. Once you've got that confidence, you can overcome that fear when you go into action. And having a plan that makes it so it's turnkey, if I can use that word, for a person who's never done this, never been in sales, hasn't got all the skills in the middle, but can utilize the tools, a company that has the tools that you can plug into and go from A to B to C to D, and you're learning while you're earning. You're learning while you're earning. Yeah, yes. That is exactly what can happen, particularly with a company of this age and the things that we've discovered over time that they've already put in place for us. And that's why, this very team is, setting the records for everything.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great point. I love that concept, earning while you're learning, and how both of us have talked, all three of us are talking about that, the fear factor, which is unfounded. It's false evidence appearing real. It's not real. It's just,
right.
It's the deceiver we're listening to. Yeah, and I would say the same thing, guys. I mean, and those listening, through the years, we've all mentored and brought on board people, and that's that is probably the number one thing that halts people in their tracks is they listen to naysayers. They actually, it's like if you were pursuing marriage counseling or relationship counseling, why would you go see somebody who's been married and divorced 10 times? That's kind of an extreme version, but you would go to somebody who has a happy, joyful marriage, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
So, and so many people, as they even evaluating building a earning money while they sleep residual income, they go to everybody. And most of their people have never earned a residual income. Why would you go to those? Anyway, it's kind of crazy. So, okay, now we're going to switch gears and be a little more emotional here. We're all a bit touchy feely kind of guys. So. And that's okay. We've learned that the hard way to express our emotions. The more real we are and authentic, yes, Hayden and Jim, the more we truly connect. So speaking of being raw and real, I know the short version is this happened about 17, 18 years ago. Our grandkids were still in like junior high and middle school, and they called us. And because Joy and I we'd done our due diligence, we had invested the time, and we had this weekly income coming in while we were sleeping. When the grandkids reached out, their mom had a crazy flesh-eating bacteria that she had contracted at school, and it actually she had already lost like half of her arm, and it was still progress. I know it seems graphic, but the kids were living with their mom and their grandmother at the time, and or their grandparents, and they said, Mimi, can you fly out? Mimi flew out thinking she would be there just for a few days. And guess what? 4 months later, she was still there. And because of the residual, and I flew in a couple of times to love on the kids and be there and be of support. But because we had that residual recurring income, our income just kept on building and it was rock solid. And that's one incident. And there was a lot of emotion built into that story because there was some other loved ones and family who loved the kids just like we did, but because of their income streams were nothing against traditional income stream. That's the backbone of our economy. Mm-hmm. But then again, because we had invested the time to build that recurring income, Joy was able to be there, and I was able to be there at pieces of that as well. And that bond we built with the grandkids and the kids and those loved ones, that's irreplaceable. And I can go on and name all kinds of examples of that in the last, 25, 30 years because of this type of income. So Hayden, what's one incident, maybe similar, if you will, that because you had that recurring income coming in, you were able to be there for maybe a loved one?
Yeah. There's so many really emotional instances where, not only for myself, but other people on the team and the community have been able to experience this. And we're not saying there's anything bad about a traditional income. I think it's amazing. It is the backbone, but what residual income does is give you options, and it gives you your power back. And when I was a while back now, but going through a separation, then also found out my grandfather was very sick. And he had 3 girls, and I was the first boy. So we had a very, very tight relationship and a close bond. And any one of my siblings and cousins will tell you I was the favorite just because of that. That's how close the bond was. And because of, having this reoccurring income, I was able to spend those last few months together. And still I was doing stuff here and there, but wasn't, 100% in all the time on my business, because that's one of the reasons why it works so hard to be able to create a reoccurring income, is so when life's, you get to spend that time with your loved ones, and you get to spend those moments together, and you get to, whether it's family, close friends, whoever it may be. But I always say, like, residual income is for when life's and things pop up and things happen. And yes, I believe that we're called to create legacies for our future generations and everything, but also what in the intermediate, being able to spend those moments together, to be able to grieve, to be able to learn. Some of my biggest lessons were from those, I would say, those times with him. and really being able to connect on such a much deeper level, because I didn't have to worry about calling in sick, asking for time off, all of those things. That just breaks my heart when people are forced into those situations that can really create a downward spiral. And so that for me was just a priceless, and so grateful I said yes in the first place and started listening to people that have created something like this.
Wow, so many lessons there you just shared. Thank you, Hayden. Yeah, what wonderful moments you had the time with your grandpa. Thank you for sharing that, Jim.
Well, I have numerous, because I have numerous family. Okay, 31 grandkids at this point, 21 grandkids, and now 10 great grands. But I'm going to not go to the places where we had sufficient income when it was needed by one of those family members to do as much as save their root and house because of loss of jobs, and step in and be able to pay mortgage payments and things like that happen numerous times with our size family. Obviously, they all step in. But this one was a fun experience for me. I had served a service mission in Chile, and my son got to go and serve for 2 years himself in the same place where I had been. And at the very end, he needed a companion. And he reached out to me and asked if I could come down a couple of months before he would be released and become his companion.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to. I was able to step away for 2 months and go down and serve with him in the country I had been 45 years earlier, now walking the streets of Santiago, Chile, meeting some of the greatest people on earth, sharing and helping them discover important truths, and being fulfilled in a way that was amazing. And the biggest surprise was that my own son could speak better Spanish at that time than I could. He'd been doing it full time for 2 years, and mine was a bit rusty. But the other thing was incredible about this whole adventure. When I got home 2 months later, having not thought about business for 2 months, my wife said, while you were gone, our income went up. I think maybe you should go again. True story.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, so many awesome stories. And that went from the magical time you shared with your son, Jonathan, to
oh my goodness,
the celebration of that. All of us have, for those watching this, I know Jim so well, and then Hayden as well. And there's countless times where, because of this earning money, well, obviously they're recurring. Is there other ways to earn income? Sure. Jim, you yourself have some rental property and other things. Hayden, you do courses, and all of us have multiple, sources of income.
Absolutely.
The thing is, there are some more specific types of building this recurring income that no matter where you are financially, whether you have a big down payment to get into real estate or not, for in so many cases it's like, literally for $25 up to 2,000 up to 3, whatever that looks like, then you have a global online business, and then it's the sweat equity that the work you put in here, and if you're teachable and coachable, then it can work for you. So my last question, as we kind of wind up this chat today, by the way, it's such an honor to be here with you both. And for those watching on live, thank you. And this recording, it's always an honor. We never take that for granted. Please know that one of the big things, I know these gentlemen, my two great friends here, so well, we do strive to live life every day in gratitude. So please know that we're honored that you're here watching this. My last question is this. For those watching this, why can it be such a priceless gift? Is that if they would commit to doing something like we're talking about for a year, 3 years, possibly 5 years, that would pay them for years and decades to come. Number one, my closing question for each of you is, number one, is it realistic? Is it doable? Okay, to address those fears. And number two, I know we've touched on this, but why is this even more important today than maybe it ever has been in our society? I would love to get a couple responses to that closing question. Let's start with Jim this time.
Wow. Well, it's called legacy, and it's a legacy income that can be passed down. And yes, I want to be not the one that needs assistance. I would rather be the one who has ample to assist, although we need to be excellent receivers when it's our turn.
Mm.
And I have a family that is so incredible about making sure that each of us have that. And we're covered that way. But at the same time, it's more fun to be able to dream and do and meet goals such as be totally out of debt, have extra of whatever is needed in case there's a crisis, whether it be a flood or otherwise, pandemic. And again, back to that legacy of, I'm the old guy in this thing, I'll turn 78 at my next birthday, making imprints because of what I get to do when I'm with. And I have to say this to you two, you will become my best friends in the next years as we build this out. Why? Because we see each other, work with each other, encourage each other. You've got my back, I've got your back. Those sort of things don't exist in the marketplace normally. It's competition out there, not let's build each other. Let's go out and really help each other learn, again, how to succeed at something that is very worthwhile.
Mm.
Sign me up, Jim. When can I reach out to you?
Ready.
I'm all in, Jim. Man, I love that message, and because it's real, and that's how you've lived your life. Speaking of legacy, you are a legacy, and I thank you for showing up the way that you do. You're not my best friend, and it's because of this. This vehicle is so much more than just generating that income, and the impact is so many-fold. So thank you, Jim. I love you dearly. So Hayden, same question, man.
Yeah. First of all, it's very realistic. I think one of the things that got me over the hump was realizing that the time is going to go by regardless. And what am I doing with that time? Am I surrounding myself with people that are creating a legacy? Am I surrounding myself with people that are in growth? And if the answer is no, then I need to move. And I need to, do something different. And when I got started in this profession, it was that realization that inflation continues to keep rising, whether we like it or not. Most people are not getting raises in accordance with that. Housing prices don't go in accordance with that. Cost of goods don't go in accordance with that. And so it's imperative to be able to have an income that has the ability to keep growing and growing and growing, because life is going to go by regardless. And most people are going to overestimate where they can be a year from now, but will heavily underestimate what happens in year 2, 3, 5, 7, 10. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you're like, I am so glad that I took that opportunity. I'm so glad that I was just open enough to listen. I was so glad that I was open enough to follow in the footsteps of other people that were on a similar mission to me. And like you guys said, like, this creates some of the most dynamic, incredible relationships that we get to leverage and collaborate instead of being in constant competition and in that dog eat dog mindset. Like, don't get us wrong, we are all animals in our own rights, but doing it in a way where we're able to, by me becoming my best version of myself, I know that it's going to uplift Jim. I know that's going to uplift Robert. I know that's going to uplift everybody else in the community and the team, because it creates more expansion and capacity to be able to do that. So I would say, life is going to keep going by. And if we don't make decisions now, we wait on those, and we find ourselves in the same or often worse situations than before if we don't take action on that.
Wow.
So
well said. Yeah, as you said, time is going to happen regardless. So it's up to us to step into that. It's my belief that God created us to pursue excellence, and the way to be filled deep. There's a lot of people that feel They're desperate to find purpose right now. Speaking of current days in our society globally, a lot of people are looking, praying, seeking purpose, mission, to be part of something bigger than just themselves and their space. And so that's the other aspect of what we're talking about. It is truly, this type of income generation is built on community, building community and relationship. Um, so this is doable. It's real. You can do this. If you can copy and paste, you can do this. If you can talk to a few people and a few more people and are coachable and teachable, yes, you can definitely do this. We've seen introverts, extroverts, and everywhere in between, party animals to the quiet, timid individuals. They just get to work, and this is doable and possible. So again, tag a friend, share this with a friend. If you know somebody that you feel in your heart they need to hear this, and again, whoever shared this, for more information about this type of income stream and what it looks like, feel free to put, my favorite keyword to put in anybody who shared this is freedom. Freedom has all kinds of meanings and connotations. My favorite is who's the actor in Braveheart?
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson, when he yelled out freedom, whatever that means to you, it's available if you choose to step into that. So put freedom in the comments. One of us, the person that shared this, or even one of us who shared it, will get back with you with more information, probably set up a little brief chat, and then go from there. It's here, it's real, it's present. There's never been an easier time to build a type of own. There's so many things you could do face to face and online. It's never been simpler to build this type of income while you sleep. So Hayden and Jem, again, so appreciative. And once again, the VIP on this line is you right there that are still tuned in here, and you didn't have to be here. And thanks for taking your time today. And we just get back with us, put freedom in the comments, and we'll get back with you. One last thought, Hayden?
I would just say, yeah, comment freedom. Let's go. Let's make some things happen together. And we're excited to partner.
I love it. And Jem?
I love the word freedom even better than debt-free. But that is freedom. When you are debt-free, nobody owns you. You have all kinds of decisions you can make once that happens. Financially, this has that potential for anyone who wants to join.
Yes. Thank you both so much. Love and light.